Hello, my fans. Welcome to set number 2 out of day number 2 of week number 5.
Yes.
It's the Smite Pro League, season 2.
Yes, it is. Day 2, etc., etc. Anyway, I'm Tom. He's Bart. We're here for the North American set. We just finished the European stuff, and it's Eager Cloud9.
So, well, Eager, not the best performance so far to date in this split, but Cloud9, on the other hand, the best performance as they are undefeated.
Yeah, they're definitely undefeated, and this is one of the situations where they could drop a game. Eager is one of the teams, in my personal opinion, that their win-loss record doesn't really reflect the absolute talent of this team. I think they could get some more wins. Whether it's going to happen against Cloud9 is a big question mark, but it's not one of the bottom-of-the-barrel teams that C9's going
Oh, yeah. I mean, well, if it wasn't for players like Lassus and Zapman, we'd probably be having the same conversations about Eager that we are having about COG. They're switching up their lineup. They don't seem to have a consistent lineup. They're not winning games. Do they have what it takes? But we've seen these players be world-class, although it's been 3 years since they've won a LAN, more or less.
It's been a long, long time.
You know, they haven't had really great performance historically, has this team either, you know, in recent memory. So a win here, even a single game victory over Cloud9 is a good statement for them, especially looking forward to Split 3, where Split 2 is quickly getting out of reach for Eager in terms of LAN. Split 3, some wins over the top teams, definitely giving them a bit of a boost, as they did drop 2 games at TSM.
Yeah, I definitely think it's a long, long play for Team Eager. I like the core, though. You mentioned Laz's, Zapman. I'll never leave Dare to Care out of that conversation.
Yeah, Dare to Care as well. Yeah, you're right.
I think Dare to Care in the jungle has almost overperformed Laz's in mid.
He's had a much... Yeah, I agree. The switch from Lassus from jungle to mid is less impactful in terms of victories than Dare to Care moving on a support into a core role.
Sure, for sure. I really like the 3-person core here. They're still feeling things out. Anatoly has been repeatedly targeted as the weak link, but they've sort of worked together. They found his strength with it, which is the team fight transition. So
yeah, that's right.
Sort of stay away from the laning characters and move into those.
They've done a good job of adjusting. I mean, they always have, though, right? Even when they subbed in Gnaw, you know, for Best last season, you know, you saw them kind of adjust the play style, and they started to find some wins that way. And again, Eager... consistently, this team has been slow starters. And, well, now in definitely the back half of the season, no question about that. We'll see if they can find that W over Cloud9. P's and B's.
W's for P's and B's.
There it is. Cloud9, first pick position. Eager, second pick position and second ban position, of course. And the first ban of the game is Isis.
Isis is going to be banned. That's very interesting, because I looked up, and in my mind, we know the games that we're casting, we understand. I expected to go into my usual, well, Mace to the face is the player you never want, right?
No. Sylvanas banned out by Eager as well here, trying to keep that out of, well, what would have been Shadow Q's hands, but actually it is, of course, Polar Bear Mike, who is subbed in. Well, I guess not no longer sub, he's a starting member of the Eager roster.
Polar Bear Mike has been a replacement for Aurora. Aurora, it wasn't his talent that really was the, I don't want to say issue, because it wasn't this big toxic situation. It was just, they didn't mesh, and Cret and I had an extended conversation on our show on Tuesday about it. A lot of times that is very, very important, just that chemistry. Polar Bear Mike, on the other hand, he's joined the team. Everything seems to be going very, very well as far as the outside the line things for Team Eager. So we saw some exciting stuff from him last week, Bart, and behind the scenes, it seems to be a very good fit.
Well, that's good. And he also happens to look exactly like Pecky's. Worth noting.
Does he?
Have you never seen the picture?
I have not.
He looks just like Pecky's.
Oh my goodness, Pecky's is attractive.
Sylvanas Neath banned out by Eager. And Bellona first pick. We didn't see Bellona at all in the European set, but Cloud9, they'll take her. Cloud9 is your world championship, reigning world championship team. They won it as Cognitive Prime, but now it's Cloud9. They continue the path to glory, although they did miss Split 1 LAN.
Bellona works both for Omega and Ananser in the solo and the jungle. Character works both in the solo and jungle. And it also works very, very well for these two players. Omega and Andy tend to really like, Andy really likes Thor characters like that. And Omega also tends to look up for late game setup, which Bellona can do very well. Athena and Gab picked up on the top side. No surprise here from Team Eager. They were one of the first teams that we got to see. Hundreds of Guardians only. No items. Final destination.
Well, yeah, I mean, and it makes... Anatoly was a Guardian player in the solo lane, primarily when he was playing before he got benched the first time to be the team's manager. Or I guess not really benched, but moved to be the team's manager. But Dare to Care kind of weirdly, because Lassus did it, also plays Athena jungle. It doesn't really make a ton of sense as to why he transitioned to do it as well, because he really seems more comfortable with like the Hunbotses and Circuits of the world.
Sure.
But plays a very good Athena now as well.
It's one of my favorites. One of my personal favorite, just watching Athena jungle happen. Laz's Athena jungle was one of my favorite player-god combinations. So some of the tips and tricks by Laz's most likely have been passed on to Dare to Care. Xbalanque picked up for Team Eager. Zatman plays a good Xbalanque as much as he hates the character.
Sobek drafted by Cloud9 here. That's going to be going to Omega's hands. And
yes.
That's just, well, they're probably playing a Guardian in the solo lane, so stall. Pick Sobek and stall, get some anti-heal in there. Have a little bit of effectiveness against that Xbalanque later in the game, but was drafted by Eager, so they're Eager taking the very, very... It's very prototypical of what you hear Lass is being very vocal about in terms of state of balance of the game, right? Guardians and Hunters. So you pick two Guardians, and you pick the latest game Hunter you can, and try to win.
Thor banned out by Team Eager over here. Interesting, because we have what we assume to be the solo and jungle in Bellona and Sobek. Thor, usually picked up by Answer.
Well, remember, Bellona in the Hunter role has become more and more popular as a dual laner.
That's very true.
Disarming, long-range disarm onto a god like Xbalanque that's so reliant on in-hands can be effective. Poseidon banned out by Cloud9 here. And, well, Andancer's a very, very good Thor player.
Exactly.
I mean, it's probably better to not play against Andancer's Thor and put him on the Bellona, if you can, I would say.
Yeah. Both characters tend to have wide-range stuns and things like that to really control the environment. Thor, of course, comes with a little bit more with Tectonic Rift, so good direction for that one. But Agni picked up for the middle lane. Lazes on Team Eager. No surprise there, Bart. I think Lazes plays one of the better Agnis in North America.
It's definitely one of his favorite gods. Yeah, so just quick point of order here, guys. The title of the Twitch stream does say rebroadcast, but this is not a rebroadcast. It is just simply broken. This is a live broadcast here of Cloud9 versus Eager. However, this game was played a couple of days ago as Zatman is attending the Brazilian Sao Paulo Masters with AFK as their hunter.
There's a reason that Zatman went to Masters.
That's right. There's a reason that Zatman went to Masters in Brazil and Ally didn't.
Apollo picked up for Cloud9 on the bottom side of your screen. That is Barracuda going to Barracuda almost undoubtedly. And all of a sudden, this Cloud9 lineup seems to be a little more traditional than what we have seen a lot of times this season. We see a single Guardian, a single Hunter. We see an Assassin, a Bruiser, and a mid lane Mage. If this was last season, this would be a really big duh. You're going to see everybody where you expect to see them. But this is Season 2, Bart, and I don't think it's that simple.
Loki. Well, that means that it's... Surely they're not going to run Loki jungle, are they?
Lazes and Xing were the two players
they
that
love
really
Loki
jungle out.
But they pick Loki jungle to go up against low mobility mages, right? And Janus is not that thing.
Not at all. Not at all. But you do have...
Well, and like, well, I see, okay, here's the thing, right? Loki's solo lane is going to be okay. Sobek does have a good matchup, and it will be that, but Bastet doesn't have a lot of kill potential against the Loki, right?
Right.
He just vanishes, and the cats just kind of sit there and look at each other. So it could be decent. Moving as 5, though. Cloud9.
This Cloud9 lineup is the most traditional lineup we've seen in a long time. All the parts where they're quote unquote supposed to be. For the first time in very, very long, we've seen a lot of meta changes in this season. A lot of just 2 Hunters, 3 Guardians, 3 Hunters, 2 Guardians. Things in odd places. This time around, Cloud9 with a little bit of a throwback. Jeff Hinla on the Sobek Guardian. Very, very
well, not finding anything with that early 5-man rotation is Cloud9. So go ahead and introduce your squads, guys. Cloud9 is a blue team, bottom side of minimap, left side of your spectator UI. Omega, Andancer, MLC Stealth, Jeff Hinla, and Barracuda as Bellona. Bastet, Janus, and the Sobek Apollo dual lane. Their opponents Eager. They have Anatoly in the soul lane as Loki. They have Dare to Care in the jungle as Athena. Lassus mid laning as the Agni. And that leaves you Polar Bear, Mike, plus Zatman as your dual lane, Geb, and Xbalanque.
I'm excited to see how Anatoly plays this Loki. We've seen him play multiple things, and a lot of times a lot of the success has come from thick, tanky Guardians. I've seen a lot of Ymir success out of Anatoly. So going into the Loki, it's different. It's not a hyper carry like a Kronos or a Hunter even. It's a completely different set. We've seen the playstyle out of Denial when their Soul Laner Baskin Robbins played it. It's a second win condition. You look for split pushing more than straight attack.
Well, it's a fairly standard start here. Making his way over to the lane is Andy. Haven't seen a lot of Andy Bastet so far in quite some time, in fact. Bastet, good, great, maybe not. Bellona shouldn't have too much trouble kind of following up those kills, right? The Eagles rally does set up a nice bit of pressure, but Loki has some good tools for running away.
Some good tools might be the understatement of the broadcast right there, as we see Barracuda just barking down that tree of the long lane. Really no contestation here from Eager. That Sobek is going to make that a very, very aggressive lane anytime he wants to get the flip, as long as, because of the way the Geb shield interacts with that Sobek flip, it will work.
Well, nothing cooking here through the first minute. Just a couple camps being picked up. Back camps being picked up now by the mid lane jungle combinations on both sides. Up one back camp early on is Eager. As you can see, one still standing for Cloud9 on the back left side of the map there. Nothing too exciting cooking, honestly, as this one is looking like a pretty standard and slow, well, not slow, but moderately paced start.
Yeah, Cloud9, not really. They're not quite an AFK, or nobody talks about Cloud9's early game, so to speak, though it's certainly not on the bad side of things. And Eager as well is not really known for early game proficiency, Bart. So a lot of this situation is just, well, we're going to see a standard game of Smite, so to speak.
2 minutes now. Minute away from those mid camps. No level 5s on the board just yet. Lassus obviously trying to make it there with MLC Stealth. The back camp was picked up in the interim by Cloud9. And well, we didn't talk about this one, but and we didn't necessarily expect it, but it makes a lot of sense. It's the Bellona versus Loki matchup in the duo lane, in fact. And very nearly a first blood, and indeed a first blood. Omega using Eagle's Rally to get out of there as well. Look at the flick of the wrist out right away.
Classic aggression coming out from Omega right there. Just bit off. I mean, so in the solo lane, you trade blows back and forth, and at some point there seems to present itself a kill potential. And Anatoly was just a little too far out, and credit to Omega, though, for seizing that opportunity and going on the aggressive. Diving a tower before 3 minutes is dangerous territory, but Omega gets away with it. Not only does he get away with it, he gets away with it safely and takes first blood for Cloud9.
And, well, Bellona getting that extra farm early on in the game, it's not crazy impactful as she is a solo laner. It's more that 1v1 matchup becomes more and more difficult now. But it still doesn't delay necessarily the Heartseeker timing from Loki very much.
Exactly. He's already got 4 stacks.
Mid camps taken. Looks like both of them taken, in fact, by Cloud9 there.
Yeah, Cloud9 starting to dominate that a little bit early. 3 in the mid lane. Again, very, very standard. We see this, well, in a lot of our standard games that haven't been quite so standard this season. Rotate for the mid camps, both jungle and guardian stay present just to farm out a little bit. You've got Agni and Geb right here on the side of Eager, so everybody where they should be.
Well, here we go. Moving back is the Sobek. Left side lane, Barracuda. He's out of the weeds as the Apollo here, level 6. Only those first few levels are really troublesome in terms of clear. Against Xbalanque, it's not that bad, especially, and, well, Apollo, he is one of, if not the hardest hitting level 1 character with a death toll. You can see his in-hand damage there. 81? It looks like, yeah, 81 in the first 4 minutes. So characters have 700-800 health at this point.
Yeah, Death Toll helps him out a lot, Bart, with the attack speed just going the way of Audacity. Because he's dealing out a lot more basic attacks, the health return and the mana return on that Death Toll really works out for him due to his passive of that Audacity, like I previously mentioned. Back camps will be shared here. MLC Stealth going in the back along with Annenster and Jeff Hinla, so very, very efficient clearing of the jungle here for Cloud9, leading the game by just about 1,000, which is the start of something, as we're very, very early in this game, is when time becomes a factor of how much gold is in the lead.
Right, yeah. At this stage, it's 800. It's basically that first blood plus the mid camps. That's all it is. There's no real advantage in any of the lanes outside of just some global gold farmed up, and of course the first blood credited to Bellona. With the attack speed boots now online as well. Moving ahead of Anatoly here a little bit, but the Heartseeker will allow Loki to make some plays. It's kind of a question of how exactly does Omega want to play this, and traditionally Omega has not been one to give up his tower early on for the rotations. Usually will buy the teleport to make any rotations later on in the back half of the mid game, more or less.
Yeah, I would very much expect this matchup part to go. Omega wants to fight and totally doesn't.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. But that's definitely the case anytime you see a Loki.
Yeah.
He ain't trying to fight you. Unless you're like in public play.
Yeah, unless the mage. Mages a lot of times will be a little more susceptible, but these days we see a little more tanky nonsense going on in the solo game. And one more time we see this is Anatoly running away, trying to juke, using the invisibility, and Omega saying, look, I will still fight you. That's my goal here.
Yeah, Omega, oh, here we go. They're just having a plan of Polar Bear Mike, but that Athena ultimate is going to be enough to save him in addition to the rollout. Getting to CC immunity right before the pluck came out. You can see the Janus rotation considered by Stealth, but nothing cooking.
Just enough to be a deterrent. Laz is taking a big shot out of MLC Stealth.
Well, he puts out some damage in return there. Flame Wave plus Path of Flames plus a bomb ticking away on MLC Stealth. But getting the better of that one for the moment is Janus. as he does end up with a little bit more HP, a little bit less MP. Mid camps, left side coming up. Right side, the position is there as well from Annister. Looks like both will go to Cloud9 yet again.
That's what we're seeing out of Cloud9 out of these first two mid camps, is that they're making plays, not necessarily looking for the kills, but they're making plays to set themselves up in a good position to get these mid camps. The first blood from Bellona prevented any sort of potential rotation out of the solo lane, and that kill right there, or the push out of the mid lane onto Laz's, allowed Cloud9 to just go ahead and take those lefts without having an Agni there to really bother them.
That's a good point worth expanding on. That kill in the solo lane really does preclude Loki from making any kind of attempt onto that right side camp. He can't afford to fall any further behind in the lane now, so it does free up some space there, as you saw Annister able to easily secure that one, and in fact Cloud9 able to kind of leisurely have their mid laner and support move over to the right side of the mid lane and leech away that experience, and that doesn't happen without the pressure coming out on the mid and the kill, first blood in fact, into the solo lane.
Pressure seems to be what Cloud9's really looking for. We see them sort of forcing things out again.
They notice Barracuda is completely out of mana here. But just off the mark is Derek here in terms of timing here. He is the jungler, so he does have a decent bit of damage, but early beats from Barracuda here.
Yes, very, very early pickup of those beads, more importantly. And they're beads 1, so they will be down for an extended period of time. But it's 7 minutes in, and the Hunter has picked up beads. That is usually a rare thought. I mean, I know
especially with a Heartseeker. I mean, you want to get that Aussie out as soon as possible.
Right, because you're not going to have that lifesteal that the other Hunter, well, is going to be a
could have,
as
indeed,
well. Could have.
Indeed not for the Xbalanque. And, well, it speaks a little bit of this matchup. Barracuda, the more patient player, the more calculated player over Zatman, who's a little bit more, we'll say, I don't know, what's the best way to call Zatman? A little relies on his instincts maybe more than kind of logic about exactly how to do things.
Yeah, definitely aggressive. Not just in personal conversation, but also on stream and such. Zatman answers the question, when should a Hunter buy actives? When you're forced to. He talks a lot about the power curve of Hunters and how you want to get your items online as quickly as possible and only buy things when you're forced to. There's an Ares, I'm forced to buy these beads. Or there's a slow, I'm forced to buy this sprint too. Other than that, you'll see Zatman always go the route of items. So definitely a different thought process as far as Hunter versus Hunter. And for this time, paid off in the way of Cloud9's Barracuda.
Well, through the first 8 minutes here, it's about 1,400 gold lead, it looks like now, for Cloud9. 2,000 experience, and it's a slow trickle in their favor, honestly. Eager by no means out of this one, but the early game is squarely in Cloud9's favor. They've definitely got the better of the map. They've had the mid-camp control. Gold Fury really the only thing missing from kind of the trifecta.
This time it's going to be totally getting a little aggressive. Omega very, very low. Remember, Eagle's Rally is a jump. Loki doesn't have that ultimate because he used it earlier. Danica here, Danica there.
Body
gets the
blocks
kill
to keep him in there, in fact.
Omega.
Spirit bombs coming. I'm sorry, the bombs from Agni coming out pretty prime. Pretty prime? What the hell did I get that from? Polar Bear Mike. I saw the big M and just assumed. Rolling out of that one. Lassus is dead as he comes through the portal here. Yes, MLC's credited for that kill. 2-1.
And he adds a little bit of swag onto it. Drops the portal, turns around, doesn't have to look at it, knows that the kill is going to be there. He knows how much damage that portal will deal. Lassus falls down. And again, the pressure dealt out at an opportune time. It's 9 minutes and something. We've got 20 minutes till mid camps are spawning. Why don't we take this fight? We'll kill the mid laner. No contest on the left-hand side. Right-hand side, though, Eager will be picking up there first. Yeah,
Loki will be taking away the blue buff here. It looks like, yeah, Bastet, no. He's pretty slow down here. The dot's going to be enough, yeah. And until he gets his one back. So both solo laners sacrifice their life for a blue buff. And, well, I guess small win for Cloud9 is Omega did, in fact, drop the blue buff, and Anatoly didn't. But a little bit of, we'll call it over-aggression. Well, greedy play for both of them results in a death apiece.
I liked it coming out of Anatoly, honestly. We talked a little bit earlier about how the Loki isn't going to look to fight. Well, that's largely true, but the Loki will look to fight when everything is in his favor, because he's very much I'm going to use everything in my kit and hope you die.
Yeah, he's got to use all of his abilities.
Exactly. So with Dare to Care or with Bellona sort of stuck right there in the corner, he knows he has Dare to Care's help, and that was a big part of it. You mentioned it, the body block preventing the movement from the solo laner. It was an all or nothing play. I liked the aggression, just maybe hung out a little bit too long.
Well, certainly did, as he did die. 3-1 here for Cloud9. 10.5 minutes in again. Omega, he's falling back to the base. Well, he already has Frostbound Hammer and attack speed boots. What's it going to be really here? I mean, why fall back? It's not. It was a bait. It was just a bait. I should have recalled it was Omega.
Yeah, Omega definitely with a decent lead. 1,000 gold. It looks like above his opponent. The Anatoly playing on that Loki. Loki, of course, will want to get those items quickly so he can just start split pushing, unless, of course, Team Eager decides to go a different route. You know, we keep mentioning the split push Loki. That's the prevalent, really, strategy for this character, but don't forget, he can be a mage killer.
Anatoly's elected into teleport 3 very, very early on in this game.
Well, that answers the question of if you're going to be a split pusher or not.
Yeah, yeah. But, you know, when are they looking to make this Gold Fury play? I mean, I guess he's kind of thinking, look, they have Janus, and he's going to be able to reposition the team really, really effectively. We got to be able to respond to that. But with an Athena on their team, you know, it looks like Eager wants to take the fight to Cloud9, in fact, with that. And because Athena can reposition herself and kind of help throw that overload, but now Loki coming in as well on the backside. You know, a couple of good picks here, and Eager, you know, they may take this first Gold Fury if they're able to surprise somebody with a teleport.
Yeah, great point of their great point about them able to reposition themselves. Team Eager has really put themselves in that situation, and I like what you said about Loki, because you see over here, take a look at the map, there's all red wards all around that left side of the map. Loki can show up at any point in time, and that's really what Omega's known for. So maybe it's a little bit of understanding against who they're playing against, or just playing to the power of Loki. But either way, there are tons of red wards on the left side of the map just waiting for Loki to teleport them when the opportunity presents itself.
Well, both of the solo laners do fall back. Runeforge Chamber started up by Bellona, and it'll, of course, be the Jotun's Wrath as the third item for Loki here. And, well, we've kind of been talking a little bit about them. Looking around at the other positions here, it's a modest lead for Jeff Hinla in terms of gold over Polar Bear Mike, but nothing to write home about just yet. The only kill on the board for Eager, of course, is at the credit of the Athena, who does have a Midgardian mail completed on top of cooldown reduction boots, it looks like. So, very early on, very defensive start from Dare to Care.
This is traditionally what we see out of the Athena jungles for most players. Cloud9 picks up the right-hand side mid-camps. Left-hand side go to Team Eager. Athena is generally played with faith in her base stats in the jungle. So
yeah, that's right.
You'll see these defensive items come out. Most of the time, it's a cooldown reduction breastplate of Valor. But this time around, we're going the Midgardian Mail. More about the defense than the actual cooldowns wanting to hit with a big burst.
Love to see a Void Stone here. Fairly standard in an Athena build. Usually paired with the Breastplate of Valor, max CDR build, but still relevant here.
For sure, Midgardian Mail going to be a decent pickup. A lot of aggression putting out onto Team Eager, and Anister gets the kill onto the Guardian with a little bit of bleed.
Yeah, and he just realizes he can go in there and goes for it and finds himself a kill. Anatoly once again a bit low as Omega dives the tower, using those bonus protections, ulting underneath the tower as well. In comes Athena, taunt, shield wall, second hit. Yes, there it is, but can they secure this kill? In comes the Janus ultimate. It hits Anatoly. Here comes the rest of the team. Are they going to die for this? And we'll see stealth. He's waiting, baiting. Sobek goes in first. He goes through the tower. 1-2, no! Dodged by Anatoly there. A little bit of a crafty play by Cloud9, but nothing cooking. Unfortunately for them, they don't secure that kill. And but they do save Omega's Bellona to fight again another day.
Very, very crafty play by Cloud9. I loved how the exit was also an entrance, or it was sort of a tag team situation. Tag, we're in, we'll go ahead, but better dancing shoes by Anatoly. Fantastic movement to avoid what is a very difficult ability to really get used to dodging. The unstable vortex, very difficult to really nail down.
Only one sprint is on the board here for Team Eager, and it is on the back of Zapman. Kind of, as you mentioned, forced to buy this item versus the Bastet. If Sheeta likes to come over here and drop the cats, he's going to need that sprint to get away from them. So, but that being said, the rest of the team is eligible targets. They don't have, with the exception of Agni and Loki, no real guaranteed way to get away.
Red buff just being picked up by Team Eager as we approach the 15-minute mark here in our first contest of a 2-game split. 4-1 read the kills. And the gold is a little bit in Cloud9's favor. 4,000. It's beginning of a good lead, but by no means is Team Eager out of it, and they want to start to force things.
Polar Bear Mike, he's forced somewhere, and it's out. Forced away, in fact.
Pull out. Right-hand side, still more aggression here from the solo lane. We've seen this fight the entire time. You know, Cloud9's Omega just always foot on the gas pedal. No brakes in this guy's mindset at all.
One Gold Fury already down for Cloud9 here in this one. 4-1 as well, and that's what's a lot of contributing to that 4,000 gold lead is that extra 1,500 from the Gold Fury.
Ouch.
Well, no towers down just yet. Mid-camp's left side coming back up, and it's been a pretty ponderously paced game. It's been, you know, really every few 3-4 minutes, you know, Cloud9 finding a pick and finding a bit of an objective play. Eager's had a couple moments here. They're going to find Jeff Hinla, it looks like. Yes, they will indeed, and Zapman getting credit for that kill. Very big deal for the Xbalanque. We'll get into that in just a moment as the fight continues. Barracuda comes in. He's very low on mana. They're forced to immediately disengage. Nothing Anderson can do. Decoy from Loki to stall out the wave push. MLC Stealth going to try to go ahead and secure the kill onto these left side Harpies. We'll get him. Omega looking for the right side, but
could be a problem. Could be a problem. Taunt is good.
That's worth.
Last is going to hit him a couple of times with the bombs, but Omega's going to be safe. Janus shows up just in time.
One more dot from Andenster. Is he going to leap back? No, they're going to cover that option, and away he goes. He'll run through the threshold and get a little bonus speed there, but Eager with a clean pick on a Jeff Hinla.
Separation. They separated the team from the Guardian and were able to just take him out, no problem. You know, the Sobek Guardian.
Play on Omega here. Eagles rally used, but here comes the Loki. He used his ultimate as well, but it looks like it was a bit off the mark. Doesn't matter because the burst damage is there.
And the credit goes to Anatoly, which is very, very important for the solo lane matchup. 1-2-1 to 1-2-2. Anatoly slightly in the lead as far as slash line is concerned and shorting up that gold lead. Talked before it was about 1,000. It reached a little higher than that. Now back at the 3-digit column, 900 gold separate these two solo laners. So Loki really getting what he wants.
As we mentioned, or as I mentioned during the last fight, Zapman getting credit for a kill. One kill on Xbalanque is worth 5 power, up to 30 power. So you're going to get 6 stacks on that passive. Every stack you get onto Xbalanque is worthwhile. About 30 power is the same amount of power that, for example, an Executioner would grant. So a meaningful passive, you can find the kills.
It winds up being almost an extra item. As you said, the Executioner grants that. Of course, it grants a little bit more, but, I mean, 6-slotted hunters are scary enough. 7?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, Xbalanque really able to get to that 7th slot, more or less, with his passive. That's definitely what... But that being said, Apollo, well, there is no items that grant double attack speed, and that's what he gets out of his passive, so...
Very, very, very true. And just differences in passives and thought processes. It's also having to do with the kid. I mean, Xbalanque is very... has very powerful abilities, so raw power helps him a little bit more than basic attacks. Basic attack speed, even with the bolas being a prevalent part of him. That basic attack, the damage on his abilities can be very scary when you get dotted up and slowed.
Kind of an interesting thing that we're seeing more and more of. MLC Stealth. He's really like kind of... one of the first times I've seen this where he's throwing out Janus portals to kind of like bait out reactions and see what happens. It really kind of interesting play, cool play coming off from MLC Stealth here.
Yeah, I've seen him do it a lot with Unstable Vortex routinely, not just today, but that's just sort of his jam. Annister gets Laz is down to half HP, but he's stunned out, now surrounded. Dare to Care needs to look for a great taunt, and he gets it! Zapman gets the second kill, that's going to help out his passive. Still coming down is Barracuda. Jeff Hinla looks like he's in a little bit of trouble, but they've got Zapman down to 25.
Early Heavenly Agility there coming out from the team. Anatoly will chase out Omega as well, and Eager 5-4. They've wrestled back control of this one, at least in terms of momentum. Down still about 3,000 gold, but Cloud9, they drop 2 very, very powerful cores. Their jungler and their solo laner are down. And, well, yeah, Eager wins an important fight, but no objectives off of that fight. No real additional control, just simply some kills. We'll see if they can do anything with it. Zapman, as you mentioned, get that extra 5 power now up to 10. And this is going to be where they start the Gold Fury for Team Eager. It's a little bit greedy. Jeff Hinla is here. Can they zone him out? In comes Polar Bear Mike. And yes, in goes the Athena. Dare to Care is going to find the double taunt. They're actually going to look for the kills over the Gold Fury here. Jeff Hinla very, very low. He will go down to the dot. In fact, Zapman getting credit for that kill. That's, again, very important. Another 5 power. Gold Fury going to Eager as well. MLC Stealth too late on the rotation. Going to try to make some kind of play. Not going to happen. He'll get an Unstable Vortex, but no, Zapman dashing away. Maybe he'll clip him through the wall. Stealth really wants it. Isn't going to find it. 15 power now for Zapman. And, well, this one, you know, Cloud9 is not up enough, anywhere near enough now with a Xbalanque that's finding kills.
I love everything we just saw to Team Eager. They took the fight exactly, maybe not exactly when they wanted, right? You mentioned it before. There wasn't really an objective to go for. No lane was really pushed up. The Gold Fury was greedy because the Guardian wasn't dead. You know, they killed cores, but they didn't kill anybody that could prevent it. So they did sort of force the Gold Fury, but what they did was they forced the hand of Cloud9 to respond, and in turn they wound up getting a couple of kills. I like how they forced the fight. They went for it, and Team Eager really intelligently played that whole sequence.
Stealth holding on to his abilities here. That was kind of weird. Lets Andenster clear out the camp, splitting the XP with him, and saving it to secure this red buff, I suppose. So, well, there you go.
Yeah,
question answered.
Yeah, a little bit of mana, a little bit of cooldowns saved for next time. Also going to share the backhand camps.
Well, it's max CDR in the Honest here, in addition to the Doom Orb. It's been a build that's gaining more and more popularity here.
Yeah, the downside of the CDR build is always, well, you don't have a lot of power. So how do you fix that? You buy one of the most power-efficient items in the game.
That's right, but it is, of course, there's some risk inherent with that Doom Orb having its power on death. So Yeah, this shouldn't be a kill.
Shouldn't be a kill.
Wow.
Dare to Care disagrees. Takes one on the Guardian in the jungle. The response from Omega teleporting to the left-hand side. Dare to Care gets out of there with his ultimate. And Zatman just presses W and walks away.
I guess I hadn't realized that his dash was down there. Didn't have time to channel the ultimate, and bees were down. Most importantly there. That's Eager being very conscientious about the timers here. Jeff Hinley in a bit of trouble as well. Omega going to try to bail him out, but he gets knocked up out of the bludgeon. Eagles rally forced out to survive there. Where is Loki? That's what I want to know.
Loki's waiting.
He's waiting in the wings.
Yep. Waiting for the right people to show up. Anderson all alone, just out of taunt range. Otherwise, that could have been a little problematic. Omega, again, being aggressive. 1v3, 1v4. It's about setting a statement for this player. He's just going to go up and hit him once, Bart.
He's got the Silver Talisman out as well. Perhaps a Pestilence coming his way? Or a Bulwark also can be built out of this item. Not entirely sure where he's going. Bulwark could make some sense. Athena, Agni, it's a lot of magic damage. And plus Bulwark gives you a good bit of HP. So make the play to answer here, put out some harass, but
Loki.
no real follow-up.
Loki's build right now. Got a whole bunch of stacks on that Heartseeker. Jotun's Wrath, so still very much in the building stages of this. We're going to see a little more power come online. Very interested to see where this Loki goes. We know that the raw power sometimes isn't as powerful as the
This is probably...
Beat Stick?
No, it's probably a Titan's Bane, right? I mean, that's the obvious choice. Crusher, also built out of this tree, if he's really, really looking to invest in a split push.
I know personally that a lot of players on Team Eager aren't fans of the Crusher. I actually think that Crusher, if your idea is to split push Loki, Crusher is a great pick. Going into Titan's Bane clearly right now. With that said, I don't think that is the right pick for this game. They've been playing Loki very much as an aggressor, very much as a member of the team fight, rather than leaving him alone to split push. So different ideologies coming out as we see Loki played as a member of the team for what seems to be the first time all season.
Right, but I mean, there's just not a lot of items that Loki can buy that make him better at killing gods. Right?
Lament.
Yeah, it's like Hydras and Brawlers Beat Stick are your other options outside of this item. He needs penetration and needs power. Titan's Bane gives you a lot of effectiveness against towers and objectives as well. So it's kind of you got to get your power and penetration from somewhere, and this way he comes better at objectives versus strictly god kills. But yeah, a taunt coming out. Bellona trying to maintain that front line, fighting against Dare to Care.
So tanky.
And Anatoly, quite tanky, but all 5 members of Eager still fairly resilient. Was that a blink out of Agni that I just saw? No, it was not.
Eager coming around the backside looking for something. Polar Bear might get some knock up. Intelligently realizes he's a little bit too far away to make anything happen. Also, Polar Bear Mike's ultimate is down. Cloud9 relinquishing the middle tower to Eager. Not quite. Blink and portal in.
Sobek tail whip.
Miss.
He's taunted out. Zatman credited for yet another kill. Porting into the backside. Here comes Omega, but not before his team is down. Barracuda down as well to the burst damage from Loki. Anderson does find the kill on Elastis. They'll get Polar Bear Mike as well in this exchange. Quite low on the right side is Janus being hunted down by Dare to Care. He will get that kill on LC Stealth. It looks like with a reach. It ends up being a 3-for-2. But favor to Eager here. Maybe going to get another kill as Anderson taunted out, running around, kiting him as Dare to Care. Will that dot be enough? I don't think so. Athena fairly resilient, dashing away. No, not enough. Omega is there to prevent any continued initiation onto Anderson, but Eager gets away with one there. And they've continued to shrink this lead down now to about 1,300 gold.
Eager doing everything they really need to start to transition into the lead. Omega all alone.
No, he's dead.
Nobody's here. There's going to be a taunt coming out.
No Eagles rally. No way he gets out of this one. He does get one last pot shot on the tower. We'll take it down, but he is going to go down here. And credit to Anatoly. Actually a misplay. Actually pretty significant misplay there, unfortunately, for Eager. Getting another kill onto the back of Zatman is really, really valuable still at this point. Again, only 4 stacks. But Loki, hey, he can make use of the gold as well, and he's had a lot of impact on the game. But unfortunate that they aren't able to secure the kill for their carry.
Very true. 4, 0, and 6. So there's 2 more slots of those 5 power stacks for Xbalanque. Remember, we talked a little bit about it. Every kill he gets gives him a little bit more power, all the way up to 6. Loki kill, as you said, it's not going to go wasted. I like the presence of mind coming out from Omega right there. Look, surrounded. I'm clearly going to die.
Hit the tower.
I'm going to get the tower.
Yeah. Smack it around. And E-Staff out from Athena as well. We didn't mention this, and that factoring in pretty heavily into the last engagement. That bit of extra HP lets her survive the dot. Eager, they're going to try to force the issue here with an engagement onto the Gold Fury. No one from Cloud9 contesting at the moment. Gold Fury down to about 50%.
Yeah, a little
Backside
bit
is Andy. Dare to Care moves forward. Taunts out Jeff Hinla. The team disengages and resets. Maybe a bit of miscommunication there. I think that they were thinking we'll go to Polar Bear Mike, but then just resetting the Gold Fury. And Well, they're perfectly happy to do that. Zatman can kind of do this forever now with the Aussie Heartseeker Executioner.
This is what they wanted. They wanted Jeff by himself. Cloud9 not quite all alone as it would seem. Teleport onto the ward coming out from Cloud9.
Nice play by
This is going to be bigger than they think it is, but Team Eager does secure the Gold Fury. Derrick gets the kill onto Jeff. Barracuda or Bastet all the way in the middle lane by himself. So numbers-wise goes to Team Eager. Lasses could be low, dashes out.
Omega actually disarmed Polar Bear Mike in that engagement. Oh, Lasses. Oh, he juked it. Well played. Anatoly finds MLC Stealth. Athena ultimate being channeled onto the Agni. We're riding along with Barracuda. Down will go Lasses, but Omega in a lot of trouble here. Will be closed down by Derrick, who's really had a great game here. 5 kills without dying so far. And he has been definitely the player of the game for me so far. His rotations have been on point. And he's really playing the Athena as well as she can, having kind of maximum effectiveness so far this game, I would say.
I'm loving what I'm seeing out of Anatoly, frankly. I am, we've used the term weak link a lot, and I have been a person to use that. In this game, it is absolutely not the choice. Annister a little bit of trouble. He's surrounded, but one of those players is a Guardian. Can Anatoly deal the damage? Look, speaking of the devil, the dots trade. There's a dot on the invisibility, and obviously there's a dot on the Razor Lash, so it's totally die.
Kind of weird that play ends up being pretty worth it for Loki, even though he resets his Heartseeker down to 25. Because Bastet was only at 27 stacks when she goes down, she's actually way behind in power, and her clear will suffer a bit because of it. Versus the 25 stacks, and Loki, he's pretty happy to sit in a lane and farm stacks anyway. Bastet needs to be involved in kills.
Very much so. Another smart play coming out from Anatoly. It's just, again, when we saw the Loki pick, we were thinking split push. This time around, he's being an aggressor. He's staying on the outskirts of the fight. He's really positioning himself correctly, and he's just doing it. He died early on, and that just proves that doesn't have to dictate how the rest of the game is going to go. Loving what I see out of
Well, these players are definitely known for, as I kind of mentioned during the picking phase, right? They pick Loki more often than not to try to aggress the backlines, not as a split pusher.
Right.
At least historically, and that's what we're seeing still out of Eager here strategically. And they've actually pulled ahead now. They have a lead for the first time this game.
Yeah, about 1,500-ish gold. About 1,000, a little bit over 1,000. So Team Eager technically in the lead for the first time all game. Remember, this was first out of 2 games split. So should be an interesting look as this game concludes. But again, you mentioned the history. We're used to seeing not just aggressive Lokis, hyper-aggressive Lokis from the players on this team. Lasses used to take Loki into the jungle with a Hydra's Lament and a girdle.
Yeah, and a red pot.
Red pot, girdle, all hands on deck type Loki style. So not quite the same from Anatoly as he's got to play out of the solo lane, but same mentality when it comes to team fights.
You know, one of the main keys to the victory through the first 28 minutes here now, as Eager has gotten back ahead, has been Barracuda has been really stymied this game. 0-2-2. He's rotated a few times, hasn't found anything in the fights, and I credit a lot of that again to Derrick and Lasses. A lot of control out of the big AOE stuns between the Agni and the Athena, making life difficult for both Andy and Barracuda so far this game.
I mean, one of the cool things that you pick Apollo for is because of the ability to just rotate and be omnipresent all over the map. Well, Team Eager picks up the Athena. They had picked up the Athena even before that pick, and they throw the teleport onto Anatoly just to make sure that they're able to follow Apollo or make Apollo follow them, which is what we're seeing more often than not. Barracuda coming into the fights a little bit later.
Well, guys, if you are just joining us, we're approaching 30 minutes into this one. 15 kills to 8 in favor of Eager. They have about 1,000 gold, 1,500 gold advantage, nothing too big. Effectively, this is a dead even game now. Barracuda, he misses the Serenade. Anatoly's going to try to re-engage. Ultimate coming out. Athena is here as well. Aim strike going to slow him down. Anatoly simply needs to kite and let Derrick do the rest of the work. He will not. Barracuda will end up going down there, but so will Toly. It ends up being a trade and ultimate expended. And now Derrick stealth. He has to run through his threshold to get the bonus damage. He will hit Derrick, but with only one of the unstable vortex. Stunned out by the Xbalanque ultimate is the Janus as well, but of course, hey, he makes portals. But guess what? Who's standing there? It's Zatman. And Stealth starting to take those in hands. He gets crit. Derrick gets credit for the kill. 7 kills now. Another crit coming through. Derrick does get the kill. I'm sorry, does go down to Andy. Jeff Hitler will toss back Zatman. He'll eat his dot. He'll beads away. He'll try to go toe-to-toe. I'm not sure that the Rising Jaguar was the play there. Oh, yeah, and he will get punished for it and go down. Could have stood his ground and in-handed and lifesteal. Instead, we'll go for the Rising Jaguar, and we'll get CC'd out of it by Jeff Hinlin. Nicely played there by the Sobek.
Fight goes to Cloud9. Got to give credit to waiting by the portal. You know, we've talked about how Janus, MLC Stealth have been using these portals, trying to get baits and reactions out of their opponent. Well, this time it worked the opposite way. Unfortunately, didn't go in his favor. Derrick saw the portal happen and said, hey, I have a taunt. I know where he's going to be. My friends are here. Just stood there and waited for a good second and a half.
So a little bit of issue here for Cloud9. Bellona has gone for very cost-efficient, very early game focused items, and now is 6-slotted. 5-slotted will sell Death Toll and obviously sell off some of these items to continue progressing down the build. But just looking at what's going on here, you can tell Cloud9 was definitely thinking they were winning this game early, not planning on taking it past the 30-minute mark here. And well, I think Eager has the advantage just late in the game. These Agni bombs will really start to hurt. He gets healed up nicely there. Get Shield preventing some of that damage. The Heavenly Agility used as well to get them out of there. And Anatoly finds another kill onto Barracuda there. That in the mid lane, Jeff Hinla unable to save him. And it's just big advantage Loki.
I mean, so again, going back to the throwback, because that's very, very much what we're seeing here out of the Loki, out of Team Eager. Hunters used to routinely complain about Loki. He's invisible and he can just kill me in one shot. We sort of forgot about that. Now in a Hunter-dominated meta bar, do you think that... I'm not going to say Loki's having a resurgence, but how do you feel about this play coming out of Loki? It's pretty much what Hunters used to complain about.
Oh, what I will say is that he was an issue until Apollo was released, and then it was like, oh, you just Serenade because I have an instant cast AoE CC.
Right.
Doesn't seem to make a difference here. That's probably just matchup. It's just been a long time since you've had to deal with it. That's kind of always the deal with Loki. He comes in and out of the meta, and he only really enjoys 2-3 weeks, maybe 4 weeks of real like value in terms of a high pick percentage, because eventually teams kind of remember or formulate new strategies on how to deal with him. Bastet should be one of them. Like Bastet and Apollo are great against Loki.
Right.
And they're not really getting it done.
So, I mean, Loki's big picture is much like his little picture. Loki in the game is much about surprising you and scaring you and getting you when you least expect it. And the only way that actually works is if you don't know how to respond or if you don't expect it. So once players start to get warmed up a little bit, so his big picture is just like his little picture. Interesting stuff from the is he Norse?
Yes.
The Norse assassin.
Norse god of fire. Loki.
What?
Yes. Loki means fire.
I thought he was the god of trickery.
He is, but also fire.
I don't understand.
Fire,
this.
the trickster god of fire. Yes.
I mean, fire is pretty tricky, but it's always hot.
In Smite, snakes.
Snakes. Okay.
But in lore, fire.
All right. Snakes are, I mean, you could say snakes are on fire.
Snake.
Badgers.
Dude, look at these items from Eager. Let's go back to the item screen real quick. I mean, it's big time late game Agni items, big time late game Athena items.
The Crusher, we do see it come online.
The maximum penetration, the maximum flat pen build coming up from Loki.
Yep, that's what it's all about, folks. And a lot of people at home right now are looking at this build and saying, Crusher, but he hasn't been split pushing. And Beatstick, who the hell is going to heal on the side of Cloud9? Bart mentioned it. Flat penetration. These are the items that give you flat penetration. And Loki, I mean, I can't do the math right here, but he's going to hit very, very close to what could be true damage. That's the goal here, to get rid of
He's pretty
all
close
of
to
the penetration.
He's probably, I would assume he's a little over the flat pen cap. With 4 items. Maybe not. With Cred on their squad, I assume they theory crafted this pretty heavily. But
yes, very much so.
It certainly does increase ability damage. There aren't really a lot of items in Smite that are really well suited to ability-based physical damage gods. Heartseeker and Titan's Bane, Jotun's Wrath, probably the 3 most notable. And of course, he has all of them. Hinla, very low. Dare to Care should be able to get it with the reach. Oh!
I loved that attempt.
Very, very close. Heavenly Agility was used there notably by Eager to continue to aggress that. Nothing cooking just yet. Has Barracuda landed yet? Yeah, he did. He landed in the mid lane. Loki's there hunting him as well.
Eager definitely has the positioning.
Yeah, they've really carved themselves out this position as well so far, and they will secure that Fire Giant. Major map objective going their way. Anatoly, he's going to put the damage on Andy. There's the ultimate used by both targets. Ultimate used as well. It was aegis away by MLC Stealth. Amazing reaction times there, but he will still die to Anatoly's dot. He goes back invisible again. Moving into the tower now. Lassus waiting for the stun. Gets the stun, gets the bomb. Down goes Omega. Nicely played there. He did stack it up at the taunt, but at that point, I think he realized they had enough damage just to get the kill. 2 members down for Cloud9.
I don't know what I want to talk about. There have been so many intelligent plays in that sequence. Just the go-to 1-2 combo of this Loki ult onto the Athena ult. It's been very, very tried and true in the history of Smite. It's still here, folks. The taunt into the already laid down Agni Noxious Fumes, waiting for the stun. Beautiful stuff, and it allows Eager to just push onto this Phoenix. They have numbers. They're a little bit low, but 4, their 5th member is coming, swooping around, and that's the split push Loki we're talking about. Look how quickly the bird dies, instantaneously.
It's just back to basics here for Eager, it seems like.
Yes,
draft Athena and Loki. You know, the Loki-Athena combo, take the Agni, right, and a Guardian and a late-game Hunter, and do it how we used to do it.
This could be a match between Cognitive Gaming and Team Dignitas in Season 1.
You're right,
a very standard lineup for Cloud9, Bruiser in the soul lane, Assassin in the jungle, etc. We talked about it. And then coming out of Eager, not quite standard, but we're used to seeing this Athena jungle from this setup. We're used to seeing all of these gods. This is a very, very much classic match from two classic teams that have been around the scene a lot. This is a lot of fun.
Yeah, great game here. It's going to go long, too. 36 minutes into this one. 20 kills to 11. Only 31 kills in the game. Look at this wars place. Look at Tolly. Really not trying to die. And looking to help team out. And at this point, Loki, he doesn't need any more items. Right? He's got all of his items. Might as well really start warding and continue to ward. And you can see it hasn't really slowed him down very much either. As he does, he's sitting at the top of the net worth charts, it looks like here. Overall, yes, indeed, it is Loki, #1. Yeah, by 2,000 gold, even dropping 22 wards.
He's the ward holder.
It's by far the best game Anatoli's had this split. This season, certainly.
Yeah, and I mean, it's looking very, very strong. We're seeing the same intelligence that we see out of Anatoly a lot of the time, but we're seeing the mechanical stuff come out of it. He's missed a couple of ults, but beyond that, I mean, we're seeing a lot of just right things coming out of this character, this position, and this player. I mean, this is, I'm going to go with you, this is one of Anatoly's better games by far.
Well, Eager knocking on the door here. One Phoenix already down, trying to make a play here. Looking to counter-aggress is Cloud9 in the backside. They will sneak on through with Andinser. He'll get a kill onto Lassus, who hasn't had the best game, but that man has Deathbringer, Rageblade, 6 slots, plus now his 5th kill.
Yep.
So some bonus damage, sitting on 384 in-hand power.
That's the Loki.
Loki helping erase these high protection targets. Jeff Hinla getting shredded by all that flat penetration.
Yep. That's sort of his target, and kind of playing the role of a tank killer despite being a character that's lauded as the opposite, but this build really helping out go in that one direction.
So I'm going to take a lot of damage here, but able to beads that and dash away. Yeah, and especially if that Loki's hitting the same target Xbalanque is with the Executioner, it's probably true damage at that point.
I mean, it's gotta be.
It's very, very close, if not, certainly.
Yeah, I mean, it's really fun to see inside the thought process of these players and how it works out. And a lot of times, the cohesion is what we're seeing out of this Team Eager. We're seeing a lot of Loki ulting immediately at the right time when Dare to Care is going to come around. Polar Bear Mike seems to be all over the place. This is what, his second week?
Yes.
Yeah, second week, and he's
second game on record.
Playing very, very well.
I wonder if they're ever going to invite him to the clan.
Is he still not in?
He is untagged as Polar Bear Mike.
Wow. I wonder if he'll ever be invited to the house.
Ooh.
Team Eager, of course, has a house for themselves, and I believe so. It's Dare to Care, Lazes, Anatoly, Kret. Dare to Care just recently moved in, and Zapman, of course. So yeah, it's everybody but Polar Bear Mike, including the coach.
Well, it was going to be Aurora.
Right.
But then it wasn't. So maybe they'll let Polar Bear Mike have a few weeks under their belt before they invite him to come be part of the family.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun to see what these guys have done. They've really and truly sort of forced themselves to become a brand, a team previously under a different, more popular brand name. They sort of distanced themselves and have done it themselves. And I mean, you've talked to a couple of these guys.
Wow. Yeah, look at that. You can see pointing it out there. Spectator. Hide anemia lines coming out. 2 of them for Cloud9 on Bellona.
Loki.
Not the most surprising thing in the world, but onto Apollo. Also not the most surprising thing in the world, but pretty damn surprising. And it is. You're right. It's anti-Loki.
Well, this is what we were talking about, how hunters used to feel just so, well, hunted when there was a Loki in the conversation. This Nimi line is going to help a lot. We'll talk a little bit about the details, well, right now, because Anastar's going to get away. Essentially what happens with Loki, the big damage isn't from the ultimate. The ultimate's a good stun. The damage is from the second hit, which is amplified by the third ability, Aim Strike. So you see Loki jump on somebody and then hit out a basic, which is amplified by the Aim Strike. So that Nemean line is going to reflect a lot of that onto Loki, which in a team fight will be a big deal. Fire Giant goes free to Team Eager.
Malice, triple crit online here for Xbalanque. He's truly 7-slotted now.
Wow. Old school.
Also, 5-1 and 14 for Zapman. How did he get 14 assists on his Hunter?
Xbalanque ultimate?
I guess so, yeah. They're just securing those, but...
Yep. Global ultimate. A lot of times you wind up... if you ever see a new WoW get played, you usually see a lot of assists.
Look at the crits on the Jeff Hinla. He's dead.
Yeah.
Oh my god, the dot. I mean, he was dead after like the 3rd hit to the dot there.
Roma Invicta. Roma, you showed up a little bit too late, my friend. Laz has put out a lot of damage. So many crits coming out from the Hunter.
Small misplay there. I mean, Omega, he leaps in. His ultimate gets beats, and then he immediately throws out the disarm and into the beated Zapman, and doesn't end up actually disarming him. But Eager's going to win. They're going to take a game off of the undefeated Cloud9 from a, what were they, 5th position on the ladder. Congratulations. I mean, that's a statement win.
Well played, and not a mistake. Not a mistake in the slightest. We talked a little bit about beforehand where I said, look, you know, Team Eager, they're a better team than their win-loss record dictates. And, well, here they are. They've switched things around as far as their strategy is concerned, and they take it to one of the better teams in the league. We no longer have an undefeated team in the entire SPL. Cloud9 takes their first loss.
So here's what's so impressive about this win to me is that when we've seen inferior teams take wins off of the top teams, and I'm looking over in Europe most notably for the upcoming Stars. Legion also takes game off AFK, of course, but it's been early game steamrolls that have won those games.
Right. The whole snowball.
That's right. And Eager won a 38-minute game, more or less, maybe 40 minutes, and it was definitely not Cloud9 beating themselves. This was Eager beats Cloud9 in a standard kind of toe-to-toe heavyweight fight.
Yeah, I mean, there was Cloud9 looked very, very strong in the beginning. We'll take a look at them right now here with the first blood onto in the solo lane, actually. It was Omega. He started things off, goes ahead, and this is what we were talking about earlier. At some point, you just realize, hey, you know, I think I could kill this guy. Happens right about here. Throws the hog down, and he's just going to go for it. He knows that he can get the first blood, and that's exactly what he does. Jumps down, throws the hammer, and what looks like a rough start for Anatoly winds up being his best game of this season, his best game of this split by far, and I think that he was a big part of this victory.
I couldn't agree more, and Omega's tendency to build that teleport to towers maybe ends up biting him, as Sprint there prevents several of those deaths against that Bastet.
Yeah, very, very true.
Jungle control, though.
Jungle control,
Though. 51% to 49. Nothing too outrageous here to talk about. The biggest thing that I'm looking at here is the 80% control by Eager on that Gold Fury. 4 out of 5 going their way, and that helps swing it back to that 49%, as 61% of the mid camps went Cloud9's way. Most of the first spawns were theirs.
Yeah, I think this is probably one of the better representations, although it probably needs a little bit translation, of jungle control dictating what exactly happened in this game. You see, Cloud9, the losers, 51%. So they maintained a lot of control over those mid camps early on. They really dictated who was going to get what early on. But when it came as the game got later and later, we see 2 Fire Giants picked up by Eager, as well as a number of Gold Furies going their way. So early game, small objectives, very much Cloud9's game. And then as the game got later and later and became more and more about big objectives, it all went to Eager.
I also have this is coming in as well, is that this is from Zindern, from Nox, from Night's Watch.
Sure.
If you buy all of the items Anatoly bought, it puts you 1 pen over the flat cap.
There you go. That's perfect.
So
that's perfect.
It does overcap you, but by only 1 point, it's probably still worth it. Player of this game, though, no surprise here. It shouldn't be, at least. It's Eager's Dare to Care, who had an absolute gem of a game. We talked about how well Anatoly did, but a lot of what Anatoly did was be in the right position for Dare to Care to ult in.
Exactly. I think if we could have 2 keys of the game or 2 players of the game, we would see Dare to Care / Anatoly.
The combo of the game is certainly them.
That's exactly what it was. I don't know how many times we saw taunts into damage from Anatoly, or Anatoly ults into Dare to Care damage. But of course, those taunts came out of everywhere. One of the bigger kills onto Jeff Hindler early on that we just watched was a product of those taunts. So Dare to Care all over the place. Sure, he's Athena, that's what he's supposed to do, but also a lot of intelligence coming out from him, and as I said, very much a core part of this team.
9-1 and 15 Athena. That's a very, very powerful Athena, and Dare to Care has just really skewed the jungle Athena statistics for this split.
Yeah, I mean, Eager definitely ate their cheese balls today.
They love them some Athena. Well, guys, that's game number 1 here out of 2. Let's go.